What's your name, please?
I'm Bob Kunst. I'm president of Shalom International and DefendJerusalem.net out of Miami Beach.
You just came back from the AIPAC conference, is that right?
Yes, we were protesting outside. We were the only Jewish group that was supporting Israel, while 70 other protesters were against Israel. But we were protesting AIPAC for being one of 14 Jewish organizations that met with Obama last July on how to sell the community on dividing Jerusalem and two states. We feel this is as big a sin as any Jewish group could possibly indulge in. And so we were there to yell at all the Democrats and delegates and religious people and everybody that showed up, don't let AIPAC sell out Jerusalem, open up your mouths, fight back. And we're very disappointed in AIPAC because while Bibi Netanyahu, the Israeli the Prime Minister, said solidly it's been Jewish for 3,000 years, we've been building there before, this is not a settlement, we're just going to continue building, and he didn't bend to Obama and all this other craziness. AIPAC kind of ambushed Bibi and said, well, we're going to put in Hillary Clinton and Tony Blair, both who are chief architects behind dividing Jerusalem, and if you divide Jerusalem, you finish off the Jewish state. And who are they to begin with in order to make this outrageous demand and give the Nazis a huge victory that Jerusalem that's been Jewish for 3,000 years, somehow or another we have to give it to the very people dancing in the streets after 9/11, who are committed to, death to Israel and death to America. I mean, this is complete insanity. So we were out there making sure that AIPAC knew how we felt. And of course, their silence on how Bibi has been treated by this Obama administration speaks volumes. Not just them, but every other Jewish group that met with Obama is playing the same dirty game. So our recommendation to the grassroots community is stop picking up the tab for the people selling us out. These are the Judenrats, just like they were during World War II and the Holocaust, and now they're setting us up for the next one. So we're here to hold everybody accountable.
Is your position that there should never be a Palestinian state?
If they want and need one, put it in Sinai. Give them waterfront property on the Mediterranean. But I don't feel we have to give up any more land for peace through Oslo or this insanity of, two peoples and all this other craziness. You federate West Bank with Jordan and Gaza with Egypt and put the new state in Sinai. But this is our land for 5,000 years that we've been occupying, okay? And we don't have to give it up. This is what God gave us. This is what we have paid for. This is how many millions of lives have been lost because of our faith. And we have nothing to negotiate with the very people who want us all dead. I mean, what kind of insanity is this? And who are they to play this dirty little game that somehow or another with the EU and the UN, that all were behind the Holocaust to begin with the first time, plus these characters we're supposedly in negotiation with right now, who have no standing whatsoever. There's nobody to negotiate peace with. These cowards deny the Holocaust, let alone the fact that they came from the Mufti of Jerusalem that was aligned with Hitler to finish off the Jews to begin with. And now these cowards want to finish off with another Holocaust with Ahmadinejad from Iran that Obama and Hitler and Biden are playing this dirty little game with Blair in allowing Iran to build this nuke that it's going to use. Not just against Israel. These crazies are against all of the West and America. We're the big Satan, Israel's a little Satan. So to be this stupid from this administration and dirty and nasty and play these games is only saying to all of our allies and the enemy out there, we're weak, we're not going to fight you, come after us. What kind of insanity is this? And where's AIPAC?
What do you suppose is the agenda of Hillary and Obama and those who are Tony Blair, those who are pushing hard to create Palestinian sovereignty alongside Israel's border?
I think this is blatant anti-Semitism and Jew-hating. And by the way, I started Hillary's campaign. I gave her 110 cities and 1,000 news interviews. When she was a U.S. Senator and when she was running for president, she supported a united Jerusalem. Now that she's joined Obama, she's turned into a raging Nazi. What is going on here? What kind of insanity to come to the Jewish people and say, hey, we're going to stop you from building homes in your own homeland and your holy land. What kind of madness is this? And then keep your mouth shut about Iran building a nuclear weapon to destroy Israel with and America with? That's what's going on here. Arab oil, once again, is playing a role. Saudi Arabia is manipulating this entire madness. Saudi Arabia that's responsible for 9/11 and 15,000 new Islamic Nazi attacks since, and global blackmail on an oil level that's destroying 30,000 people a day, but nobody wants to open up a mouth about it. All we're saying is, hey, the Jews have to keep on making the sacrifice, and we put no burden at all on the very people who want us all dead. What kind of madness is this? So for Hillary to play this dirty game, to me, is absolutely unconscionable. Biden also, what are they talking about? Biden, when he was running for president, says, oh, I wouldn't tell the Israelis what to do. That's all he's been telling the Israelis, which is, you're like our puppet. You'll do what we say. And then the outrageousness of almost blood libel, which is to say, well, you're responsible for the deaths in Afghanistan and Iraq in terms of Americans dying because you won't give up your land, you won't give up your identity, you won't give up your faith and your religion. And by the way, this is a direct attack, as far as I'm concerned, against God and our covenant with God. That's been there for thousands of years, older than Islam. Who are they to tell us what to do? What an outrage.
Are you suggesting that Obama is trying to challenge the God of Israel?
I would say Obama is the biggest coward. He has no consciousness whatsoever. Would he go to the Muslims and say, give up Mecca for peace? But he has no problem saying it to the Jews. This guy is a raging anti-Semite and Jew-hater. What kind of craziness is this? And when is the American Jewish community going to wake up and realize this is not civil rights? We've elected somebody who's a total disaster, who's after Israel, and he doesn't care how much pain and suffering and craziness we have to go through there, and as much in the same breath as what happens here in America. This guy is not an ally of either of us. He's playing his own little Messiah game.
But if the Arab League is demanding that the Palestinian-Israeli conflict be resolved before they're willing to support a global action against Iran, and this is the White House's understanding that Iran is linked to the future of Palestine, what would you say to Obama?
Pack of lies, liar! How dare you? What kind of manipulation is this? You say to the Jews, give up your identity, give up your history, give up your covenant with God, give up everything, the major sacrifice of millions of Jewish lives for all of this, so that you can tell us maybe we can fight Iran and stop the nuclear holocaust that's pending? If we just give all this stuff up, why don't you just say, don't be Jews and get the hell out? I mean, this is beyond insulting. It's the most blatant, nasty type of attack I've ever seen from any American president. And who is this guy to make the statement? He wouldn't be president if it wasn't for the Jewish vote. What a lowlife.
Do you think the Jews have more to expect from Obama with regard to the forcing premature Palestinian sovereignty?
I think Obama has turned into a Mr. Fuhrer and Herr Fuhrer. I think we are dealing with such great danger right now, I can't even begin to tell you. And I'm appalled by this type of politics. The fact is he's creating a danger not just for Israel, but for America. He's saying we're weak. And by the way, just look what's happening around the world. I'm not impressed with the Soviets with the new treaty to get rid of all these nuclear weapons. What difference does it make? That's basically going to happen anyway. But all the countries around the world, from North Korea, Pakistan, everybody else, they're spitting at us. Obama has no foreign policy that's making any sense whatsoever. The rest of the world doesn't see anything that matters in terms of Obama. Their policy has been a total failure across the board. He's been telling everybody, yeah, well, we'll sit with Iran and Iran and Iran. He didn't support the people resisting Iran, namely the Iranian people. He hasn't said anything in terms of real sanctions. And by the way, he wasted a whole year, which none of us had. Now Iran's on its 4th nuclear site. What are we going to do about this? And they want their 12th imam, which means they're going to create a global catastrophe. It's not just in Israel. It's going to be in the U.S. and it's going to be in the West. What are we going to do? We don't have anybody in charge in this White House that has a consideration. All they're doing is playing the game with somehow Abbas and Fatah versus Hamas versus Hezbollah, and all of them are puppets of Iran. What is the madness going on here? This is the most irresponsible, outrageous attack upon Israel and its sovereignty. And the only way we're going to get through it is for Israelis to say to the U.S., listen, we have a great relationship, thank you very much, but Obama, get off our case. This is not you to tell us who and where to build. As far as I'm concerned, if I was Bibi, I'd be announcing building every single day and where it's going on. One unit after another.
Do you think that Obama's trying to divide a wedge between American Jewry and Israel?
Absolutely. He's a tyrant. What an outrage. And any Jew that buys this madness deserves everything we get, because you're inviting the same catastrophes as we had back in the 1930s. Remember the peace at any price gang, okay? Here is Mr. Chamberlain from England waving that piece of paper from Hitler. He had given up Sudetenland and Czechoslovakia, and what did we get? 60 million dead in World War II and nearly 7 million.
What would you like to say to Jewish Americans?
Wake up.
About what?
Everything. Israel's not 62 years of age, it's 5,000 years of age. You need to know what your history is. You need to understand what the struggle's all about. This is what God gave us. We're thousands of years older than Christianity, even older than Islam. You don't have to kiss anybody's behind. It's cost us millions of Jewish lives playing the old games we can't do any longer. Have some self-respect. Give Bibi support not to give up anything. Come up with a whole other different plan. What we're dealing with now is trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work. You're trying to squeeze, a 50, pound girdle on somebody that's 300 pounds. It doesn't make any sense, and we're losing a lot of lives in the process. So wake up and realize this is not a left-right issue. This is a question of our survival.
Do you believe that President Obama is trying to set up American Jews to make them seem as impediments to peace?
Of course, we're the scapegoat. We always have been. When Obama went to Cairo last June and equated the Holocaust with Muslim humiliation and then cowardly ignores 5 Arab wars and 2 intifadas, what an insult. Where was the Jewish community? They didn't get it then? This guy is a disaster. The Muslims didn't kill enough Jews in 5 Arab wars and 2 intifadas, and we have to put up with that crap? Who is this guy? Who's this bum to play this low-life game? Who wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for the Jewish vote? And 78% of the Jews voted for him, and they're still holding on? This is complete insanity. This says to the Jews, how could you be this stupid? You're still doing civil rights? No, the issue is the man is not just incompetent. He's dangerous, and he's dangerous to us and to America. What he's doing is not just setting up Israel for a fall, he's setting up America for a fall. The same people who want to kill Israel want to kill America. So why are you giving them the invitation to come after us by showing this weakness? What makes it so unbelievably unconscionable where Obama's coming from, besides beating up Bibi, treating him like garbage, attacking our covenant with God, our whole faith, our religion, everything. What do you think he does? He does a quick trip all of a sudden to Afghanistan to honor the troops that are fighting the same scum that we are fighting in Israel? Okay? He says to the Russian government after another Chechen and Muslim attack that killed how many people in the subways? We're with you, Russia. We're fighting the same people. But he doesn't say the same thing to the Israelis fighting the same scum? No, it's the Israelis that are wrong. It's the Jews that are wrong. We're the obstacles to peace. If we don't give up our identity and our history and everything that is Jewish, we're the obstacles to peace. Why are we kissing the behind of the very people who want us dead? Who is there to make peace with? Abbas and Ft.L, August 9th, 2009, in a meeting in Bethlehem, said, we don't want just East Jerusalem, we want all of Jerusalem. Hamas says, Tel Aviv, we want it all. Hezbollah says, Haifa, no, that's not Jewish. That belongs to us. There is no such thing as Jews in the Holy Land, according to the Muslim extremists. Don't you understand? It's just that simple. And they're never going to make a peace with us. You can't make peace with somebody who wants to kill you. You make a decision. It's you or them. When are we going to wake up and stop doing social work?
So do you think the rank-and-file American Jews are responsible, or are they being poorly led by the Jewish establishment leadership?
Both. Everybody has to take personal responsibility for what's going on here. Okay? There is a revolution going on inside the Jewish community, thank God, which people who formerly supported Obama are finally waking up and realizing, oh my God, now we're in trouble. What are we going to do? Where do we go with this thing? The Jewish leadership has failed us miserably. I wouldn't give a dime to any of these groups. They have played out diversity to the point of nausea. Well, diversity without security is meaningless, okay, on any scale. And so we have to wake up and realize there are people there who actually want Jews dead and want Christians dead. Do you think Obama had the courage even to open up his mouth when 500 Christian women and children were just murdered March 7th, 2010 in Nigeria? He didn't open up his mouth about the Christians, and they're being assaulted all over the world by the same Islamic Nazis. What about the Hindus and the Buddhists and everybody they consider to be infidels? The whole planet is all of a sudden being sacrificed because we have nobody in the White House that's focused because he's afraid to even use the word Islam. afraid to even point a finger and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? We have a better relationship with the son of Hamas, who was working for the Israeli Mossad, who comes out and says in public, there's no such thing as a moderate Muslim. If you believe in the Quran, you believe in jihad. If you believe in jihad, Christians and Jews and everybody else has to be killed. What are we dealing with here? How come the Muslim community is silent when all these tragedies are taking place? I'm not letting anybody off the hook. The people who are honest and want to make a break, fine, we support them. But those who are keeping their mouth shut and allowing this to go on, they have to be held accountable and be responsible for this bloodshed that's going on. And that starts with every individual Jew that voted for Obama and every Jewish organization that's keeping their mouth shut and wants to divide Jerusalem. The blood is on their hands.
Are you suggesting that Jewish members or donors to Jewish organizations withhold their donations?
Absolutely. What are you giving it to? What's the point? You want to make a donation, go to defendjerusalem.net, go online and make a donation to groups like us that are fighting for Israel's survival and the Jewish world survival and Christian survival and Hindu and Buddhist and infidel survival. We're looking for survival against these Muslim Nazis. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? Muslim Nazis. These are people who are committed to our extermination. Going back to the Mufti of Jerusalem that had an alliance with Hitler, they've been killing Jews since back in 1929 and before. What is this thing all about? How come I, as a Jew, have no access to the burial place of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their wives that's thousands of years older than Islam? No Jew could go up the first 7 steps until 1967. Why do the Muslims control what belongs to me? And why do I have to take into the political consideration when the Muslims say, oh, no, it wasn't Abraham that sacrificed his son Isaac. No, it was Ishmael. We're thousands of years older. The history of the Jews is the history of the world. Why do we have to play second fiddle to the Islamic community? When are Jews going to find a little self-respect? In the Annapolis summit, where we led the opposition to, here Bush and Rice are telling Olmert and Livni they're supposed to give everything up to get acceptance from the Arabs, right? And they tell Olmert and Livni, why don't you come in through a side door? So you have absolutely no first-class representation with the very people you're going to give everything up to. What kind of insanity is this? And the worst part was, Olmert and Livni did. They have no self-respect. They're representing us, and when they're weak, what happens? Every anti-Semite and Nazi in the world comes out of the closet and comes after Jews all over the world.
What happens when Israel appears weak in the eyes of global jihadists, the Muslims throughout the world?
It only encourages more bloodshed. The only thing they respect is if you come after them and you finish the job. We haven't finished the job. Bush with Olmert didn't finish the job in Lebanon against Hezbollah. Bush and Olmert didn't finish the job with Hamas in Gaza. Every time they were getting close to doing it already. No, don't. We'll just sacrifice Israelis. We're not going to sacrifice anyone else. Who in their right mind would put up with 10,000 missiles into southern Israel from Hamas trying to do a public relations stunt? That was the Israeli government? Have they lost their minds? If we here in Palm Beach County were getting missiles every day from Broward, how many would it take before you would strike back? Do you understand? That's the issue here. What are you putting people through? And then here's the total insanity. After the Jews leave Gaza, okay, what did we get? The locals vote in Hamas, a terrorist state. We get 10,000 missiles thanks to 1,000 tunnels from our other great peace partner, Egypt, right? What's the point? And meanwhile, they think that after all of this insanity that's taken place, that somehow or another we're going to take 620,000 Jews that live in East Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, and go through the same thing we went through with Gush Katif and Gaza, and they're all going to move out, and we'll be Juden-free in this great Palestinian state, and we're going to cut Israel in half, so there'll be a corridor between West Bank and Gaza. Have they completely lost their minds? This is what we're all supposed to play this dirty game with? I mean, it's complete insanity. Who in their right mind is going to do it? There'll be civil war before this happens. So any Jew in the United States or around the world that's playing along with Obama and this stuff is not only endangering their fellow Jews and selling them out, but they're endangering their own lives because they're saying, hey, we're so weak, we're willing to do peace at any price. If we could just save one Jewish life, we'll give it all up. The point is they've already cost so many thousands and millions of Jewish lives to get here. What in the world are we doing?
But isn't the issue of supporting Obama's pressing for a Palestinian state not just a Jewish issue, but actually any patriots, any defender of liberty and freedom's interest?
How do you make a connection between the Arabs in Gaza and West Bank with freedom? In fact, how do you make any connection with any Arab with freedom? The whole thing of Islam is submission. What do you have in every Arab country? You have one dictatorship after another. The only place that they have any kind of freedom at all is in Israel, where you at least have 1.5 million Israeli Arabs that have more freedom, more education, more money, more of everything than any other Arab anywhere else. We're not holding the other Arab countries to any standards. Women can't even drive in Saudi Arabia. They chop off the heads of homosexuals in Saudi Arabia. They're hanging gays in Iran. We're not even supporting the revolutionary grassroots that want to topple Ahmadinejad, saying he's a phony leader to begin with. Every Arab country is playing this dirty game with their own people. The only thing that keeps them united is, let's have the Arabs, to be the proxies to keep killing the Jews. What kind of madness is this? So we're not being patriotic. We're being very patriotic. We're saying to Obama, stop being a jerk, stop being an ass. Why are you playing the same game as Chamberlain with Hitler? In fact, why are you behaving like Hitler? How dare you? Who are you to tell us that we have to give up the Holy Land? We have to sacrifice and divide Jerusalem and give it to the very people dancing in the streets after 9/11. Not going to happen.
Isn't this also a Gentile issue?
Absolutely. Well, where's the Christian leadership?
Well, are you saying on a religious basis or also on just on a global stability basis?
I'm talking about the fact that 20,000 Christians were killed in Lebanon. Christians are being persecuted from Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, Indonesia, Nigeria, you name it. They're being attacked every which direction. When the first Pope came to Israel in 2000, there were at least 20% Christians in Bethlehem. Now it's down to 2%. Because the Muslims are attacking everybody who's Christian there. Who's playing this game and who's speaking out on their behalf? We are, because it's the same issue. Where is the Christian leadership? Where is the Jewish leadership? Where is the Hindu leadership? Where is the Buddhist leadership? Everybody's playing this little game. And I'm saying to everybody, we're all infidels. We're all going to be targets. We better all get our act together and go after them before they finish us off. It's just that simple.
What about secular humanists? Do you think they have a role, even the atheists?
Why not? Nobody's arguing secular humanism. Just don't be jerks. You have to come to recognition this is not social work. We have an enemy there, and that enemy is determined to kill us. So my argument would be every place we've already had an attack, just put pig oil there to make sure that they're unclean and they don't get their 72 virgins. Let everybody know from a psychological level that war is on too. But I think we have to come to another recognition here. This is not kumbaya. There are people there who are determined, nasty, vicious, awful people. Okay? And if it was only 1% of the Muslim community, what are we talking about? 1.5 million murderers we have to look out for? This is crazy. So to deny the fact that we have an enemy there because you want to be secular humanist is complete insanity. Okay? You've got to get to the point to understand that there are people there that are very dangerous, and in this day and age, with high technology and weapons of mass destruction, it doesn't take much to put together a horrible scene that costs many lives. When are you going to stop playing this little game? Because all you're getting, secular humanists, is a bigger body count. And while you're being kumbaya, you're going to sacrifice your family? How about you volunteering first? Where do you have the right to sacrifice anyone else's family? You don't. So you better be very accountable and responsible for your actions when you're talking about peace at any price. We're not going to repeat the Hitler scenario here. Please take a copy of this and send it out to everybody that you know around the planet. Please make a donation. Go to defendjerusalem.net, and you'll see our address where you can send a check or do it online. Put together to come together and really make a statement unlike anybody has ever seen. And from that perspective, we'll be able to turn the corner on this whole thing. Everybody, don't sit back. You must speak out. You must open up your mouth. You must donate. Please invite us to any of your groups to address them. But I would just say this is probably one of the most dangerous periods of time since the Holocaust. And if we don't get our act together now, we may very well see that never again is happening again right on our doorstep.